Hello everyone from the Pioneer Daily Map Report. Greetings from another day of fighting between the Ukrainian army and the Russian army. In a moment, we will analyze the latest developments in the war with the map. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive operations continue in three parts of the front line. The fighting seems to have intensified on the Bakhmut front line in recent days. Ukrainian troops have been under pressure on the Orikhovo-Vasylievka line in recent days. The Ukrainian army broke this pressure. Ukrainian troops mobilized to break this pressure completely started offensive operations. There is no progress yet. However, the attack's potential of the Russian troops have been broken. So what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's take a look at the developments together. The Pioneer continues to reach you with the daily map reports and the reports on the agenda. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, and you can also help us reach more people by commenting on our videos. This will please me and my team. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. Let's make a change today. Let's start our map with the latest developments on the northern front, which we don't cover very often. As you know, there is not much activity in this area, so we do not include it in our reports. There are many reports of the clashes in Serpyonsky forest area near Dibrova. In fact, when we look at the focal point of the clashes on the northern front, we see that this region usually stands out. There are no reports of any territorial changes. On the other hand, clashes are also taking place in some areas further north. For example, in Kirlovo region is one of them. In recent days, the Russian army has attempted several attacks here. There is the N26 logistic road here. In order for the Russian army to carry out more attacks in the region, it needs to ensure security on the motorway. So far, although the Russian army has fought to ensure the security of this motorway, it has not achieved any success. Let's continue our report by analyzing the reports of the latest situation on Bakhmut front line. Let's start with Bakhmut South. Avdiivka and Klishchivka are now under the control of the Ukrainian army. Therefore, the fighting is gradually shifting to the east of Klishchivka and Andreevka. According to the latest reports, furious fighting is taking place east of both Klishchivka and Avdiivka. The Russian army has mobilized to retake both villages. However, it has not yet many gains so far. We have mentioned it before. After the Ukrainian army established its dominance in the region, it quickly started to build defensive fortifications here. We see that these defense fortifications have been built because it is reported that many Russian soldiers lost their lives during the attacks of the Russian army. The soldiers of the Ukrainian army, especially in this region, are very experienced in defense. This leads to failure of the attacks of the Russian troops in this region. We know that there is a railway line here. As you know, Ukrainian troops have taken control of most of the railway line. In some areas, Ukrainian troops moved east of the railway line. Russian troops retreated in these areas, leaving a large number of ammunition. We have already shared with you numerous reports about the beginning of a movement north of Bakhmut city center. The activity in the region seems to have increased significantly. Ukrainian troops here have been facing Russian attacks from Orikhovo-Vasylievka line in recent days. The best defense is attack. Therefore, Ukrainian troops in this region also launched an attack against Russian troops. Ukrainian troops did not achieve any gains in these attacks. However, these attacks are very important in terms of eliminating the Russian influence in the region. Seeing the possibility of a sudden offensive by Ukrainian troops, Russian troops stopped their attacks. There are clashes between Ukrainian artillery units and the Russian artillery units in the region. There is no territorial change on the Bakhmut front line. However, the increased mobility in the region can be interpreted as a sign that there will be a territorial change in the coming days. Now let's continue our report by examining the latest situation on the Zaporizhia front line. First, let's see the Zaporizhia front line on the map. Let's start with Wuhldar region today. As you know, there was a homeless in the Wuhldar section of the Zaporizhia front line in recent days. We were often unable to share information about this region in our reports. The activity has started again. Ukrainian troops went on the offensive. The direction of the Ukrainian troops' offensive was north of Orikhovo. Let's take a closer look at this area on the map. According to the latest reports, there are attempts by Ukrainian troops to advance in the direction of Orikhovo-Vasylievka. Ukrainian infantry units launch an offensive supported by Ukrainian artillery. However, no results will obtain from this attack. As you know, the Ukrainian army has been hitting this area with artillery attacks for a long time. This was a sign that Ukrainian troops would start the advancing to the Orikhovo-Vasylievka region. This advance seems to have begun, however, we need to follow it. Ukrainian troops are also trying to advance to Priodny in this region. Continuing their offensive along the motorway, Ukrainian troops have made limited territorial gains in some areas. Clashes between the troops of the two armies continue in the region. It is possible to say that the advantageous side is the Ukrainian armed forces for a moment. In addition, duels between artillery units have also resumed in this region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery shelled Ukrainian positions in Stromayorsk and Orikhovo. In turn, Ukrainian artillery hit Russian positions in Orikhovo-Vasylievka, Priodny, Novodonetsk, and Novomyrsk. Let's continue our report with the latest developments in the Robotny sector of the Zaporizhia front line. As you know, the Ukrainian army has consolidated its superiority in the Robotny area. The advantage in the region continues to be in favor of Ukraine. I don't even know what consolidated means, but I know that. According to the latest reports, Ukrainian troops have made critical gains in the northern part of the Novoprokopivka. The clashes have reached the settlements in the north of region. The region is being surrendered step by step by the Ukrainian troops. In addition, Ukrainian troops in the region are sharing similar offensive movements in the Verbov direction. Ukrainian troops trying to advance in the direction of Verbov and have developed area of dominance at some points. The advances of the Ukrainian army may accelerate further in Verbov, because according to the claims of local sources, armored vehicles belonging to the Ukrainian army have been dispatched mostly behind the Dragon's Teeth in recent days. It would not be wrong to say that Verbov will be under the control of the Ukrainian army in a short time. Artillery units also continue to struggle in this region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units hit Ukrainian positions in the settlements of Robotny, Novodanilovka, Malia Tokmakcha. On the other hand, Ukrainian artillery struck Russian positions in Kopani, Ichenko, and Novoprokopovka. And what do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army's advance in the Bakhmut will continue? Can we see the new developments in the north of Bakhmut? What do you think about the latest situation of the Russian troops? Do you think the Ukrainian army will dominate more areas? Mention it in the comments. I'm reading and caring about all your comments.